Some of you may know Xzibit from his albums Restless or collaborations with Dr. Dre, but certainly many of you are like the majority of the world who know him as the guy who hosted the MTV show Pimp My Ride.
The guys here at Gas, they took your Sunbird and they really did it right. So now all you gotta do is get in your whip and ride out.
Xzibit was an American rapper, actor, songwriter, TV show host, and radio personality. His career began by recording music with Dr. Dre and selling a lot of albums, but he ultimately filed for bankruptcy while dealing with some extremely major financial troubles, only to overcome those difficulties and re-establish himself as one of the most iconic hip-hop stars of his time. Given the fact that Xzibit has experienced significant ups and downs in the music industry in 1995, it is well worth taking a look at the most recent history of the man who used to have his audience hanging on his every word as he would hang a chandelier or install a CT scan machine in someone's car in the Pimp My Ride show.
I know I'm gonna break suddenly when I hear that.
Xzibit's true name is Alvin Nathaniel Joyner, born on September 18, 1974 in Detroit, Michigan, to a family of 4 brothers and sisters. His mother died at the age of 10, which made Alvin mature quickly in the streets of Detroit. He then moved in with his father, who remarried and relocated to Albuquerque when he was 10 years old. However, it did not work out for him, and later, following a falling out with his father Alvin, who had a fondness for rapping, decided to go to Los Angeles to live with his elder sister and pursue a career in music under the name Xzibit A. Alvin's first recorded album work, Coast to Coast, was with the trio The Alcoholics, which debuted in February 1995 when he was 20 years old. Within a few months, he was working on a song with King T and was on tour with the Liquid Crew. By early 1996, Xzibit had signed with Loud Records, and his first album, At the Speed of Life, was released in October of that year, in which Tremaine, his son, is honored in the song The Foundation. The album was very popular, and not only because it had a debut, it peaked at number 74 on the Billboard Hot 200 chart. The very first single charted at number 86 in the US and reached number 11 in Germany. After a few years of working as a kind of underground artist in Los Angeles, things began to shift when he released his album 40 Days and 40 Nights. The album, released in 1998, drew the attention of the famed producer Dr. Dre, who then collaborated with him and began arranging him opportunities on television shows that would eventually change his life. Snoop Dogg also collaborated with him on the single No Limit, which featured on the Top Dog album, as well as a couple of performances on the classic Chronic 2001 album. Restless marked Alvin's first major commercial breakthrough, as well as a platinum album and chart-topping singles. He was also selected to perform as an opening act on the Up in the Smoke tour, which featured Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, and Eminem, all of whom are considered legends in their own right. Restless was a platinum-certified album that peaked at number 12 on the Billboard charts and produced 3 singles in the process. Notably, the singles fared better in Germany than they did in the US. Along with their album, Xzibit and Eminem had a hit song together called Don't Approach Me, which was released in 2000 and is a fan favorite. He released his second compilation album, The Best of Xzibit, in 2002, continuing his pattern of releasing albums every 2 years. In 2004, Xzibit became the host of the popular MTV show Pimp My Ride, in which a crew of mechanics from the West Coast Customs Shop would do totally ridiculous and outrageous improvements on broken-down automobiles. Over the course of 5 seasons, West Coast Customs, which was then named Galpin Autosports, performed some incredible modifications on automobiles. They crammed as many televisions and gaming systems as they could into every available space of a car. They upgraded the wheels to gold-plated alloys that were worth more than the car's original sale price. A Ford Escort was transformed into a Mach M3. In fact, these modifications were so outlandish that they included everything from pulling a CT scan machine to chocolate fountains in the cars. No matter how they customized the car, it was a great show to watch. During an interview about how the show got its start, Xzibit told The Breakfast Club that he already knew West Coast Customs.
I was already getting my cars done at West Coast Custom. The producer, Rick Hurwitz, came in and asked if I wanted to host a show. I'd never hosted anything before, so it just happened to happen like that. You know, it wasn't anything planned or it was strategic.
And that when he was approached regarding joining the show, even though it was his first, everything went extremely seamlessly. The show gained a special place in pop culture, especially among those who grew up watching it. The MTV program ran for 6 seasons until being canceled in 2007. After the show was canceled, it seemed as though all of the secrets were being exposed, and the truth about the MTV show was slowly being revealed to the public. Many people began to doubt how authentic the show was, as well as what happened to the automobiles once they had been customized. When contestants on the program started to come out about their experiences on Pimp My Ride, this became a more pressing subject to answer. After the show, they claimed that their automobiles did not function properly, or that whatever modification they had performed had actually made the automobile worse. Even worse, the producers made up a lot of the storylines and ideas about the participant in order to match the theme and the customization for that particular episode. One of the examples is Seth, who was portrayed as a candy lover because of his big physique. So they installed a candy machine in his car, but later after the show, the cotton candy machine was a nightmare for his automobile since there was no cover to keep the sugar floss from strewing all over the inside of the car. Producers made Seth's episode all about his weight because of his physique and scattered candy all over the back of his car, and Seth was told to claim that he did so, as to build a perspective that he is a guy who wants to have a sweet snack at all times. Furthermore, most of the time, MTV fabricated the reactions of the contestants to their customized car reveal. Alvin continued to put out amazing albums during the entirety of Pimp My Ride. Albums such as Appetite for Destruction and Weapons of Mass Destruction were among the many that he released. Weapons of Mass Destruction performed well, but not to the extent that Xzibit had hoped. Apart from his work on Pimp My Ride and music, he has continued to act, appearing in full clip alongside Busta Rhymes and making cameo appearances on CSI Miami. His film credits include Derailed, XXX State of the Union, and Hoodwinked, both from 2005. In 2006, he appeared in 2 episodes of The Boondocks, as well as Gridiron Gang. Following the end of Pimp My Ride, Xzibit voiced his dissatisfaction with MTV, claiming that he was never given a portion of the show's earnings. Later on, Xzibit attempted more acting and established himself as a television personality, but tragedy struck when less than a year after the program stopped, he lost his son. Xavier was born prematurely in 2008, which naturally made giving his heart into work very tough at that moment. Later, Alvin went on to work as an actor, appearing in small roles in major projects. However, by 2008, he had been mostly inactive, and he had failed to follow his own custom of releasing an album every 2 years. This was a difficult time for Alvin, who had failed in his joint venture with Dr. Dre and had to declare bankruptcy in 2009. Back then, Alvin owed the federal government almost $900,000 in taxes as of late 2010. Also, he filed for bankruptcy in July 2009 and January 2010, but was rejected on both occasions. It seemed Alvin Joyner also became part of the tumbled celebrities group who had lost it all after the fame, but fortunately enough, his 2012 album Napalm, which was critically acclaimed, enabled him to bounce back in the music industry. In 2004, Alvin Joyner got married to Krista and had 2 children together, Xavier and Gatlin. He also had sons from a previous relationship, Tremaine Joyner and Trey Capital, and they are also rappers. In 2016, he was cast in a recurring role on the blockbuster television program Empire, which allowed him to return on the stage and continue his career. Only 2 years later, Xzibit paid out all of his delinquent taxes, which was a remarkable reversal for someone in his position. In 2020, he founded a new business firm called Napalm, which was named after his record, which was responsible for his revival in popularity, which is now suffering blowback in response to its name, but Xzibit remains firm in his stance of naming and the concept behind it. Xzibit is currently on tour in support of his next album, King Make, while uploading selfies with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Alvin may not be the most popular reality TV show host anymore, but he still has a large following, with over 1.5 million followers on Instagram alone, and he doesn't seem to be ready to step away from the spotlight just yet.